Welcome to Evilive, the live media commentary show that answers the question: when fungus takes over your brain, does it make your brain more delicious? You know what I mean?
My guess would be yes.
Shave off a little on top. All right, subscribe if you're new to the channel because today we are reviewing HBO's The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 1, You're Lost in Darkness.
Motherfucker.
What are your initial thoughts? Because you played the game.
Here's my initial thoughts. I am so fucking anxious to see next week's episode,
really?
even though I've played that game numerous fucking times and know how it ends.
Yeah.
I was fucking like pretty much on the edge of my seat the entire time last night. Just fucking perfection. Like HBO has spoiled us, just plain and simple.
It's so funny, the juxtaposition, because we have a different channel that we review things on, and it was just a shitstorm. And so to go from a total low to an unexpected, unanticipated, insanely high, it was amazing.
I mean, to be fair, I kind of figured this was going to be amazing. Like the thing that they seem to have done right is like this show's been getting put off, like pushed and pushed and pushed until they get it right. Just like the fucking video games, which are, without argument, some of the greatest video games ever made. Like The Last of Us Part 2 is like my favorite video game of all time. Wow. It's perfect. And yeah, it translated great with the show.
So I did hear that they changed some things, but did any of those seem to bother you at all?
Not even a little bit. Like, I mean, if we're gonna go ahead and start with the episode, like the introduction, that's not in the video game at all.
Oh, really?
And I fucking love that. Like, that was the greatest way to introduce this the virus, the fungus, how ultimately it's going to play out
in the 70s too.
Yeah, so goddamn great. And it's like, man, I want to see just that in its own show. Like, I want to see that episode of that talk show. Like, that's how riveting that was.
What did you ever see the documentary Fantastic Fungi?
No, it's one that I keep meaning to watch, but I haven't yet.
Genuinely amazing. It gave me an entirely different perspective of fungus, ultimately. I was never a mushroom person. I watched that documentary, and now I am the most pro-mushroom human on the planet that I could possibly be. And watching that intro took that passion for pro-fungus and flipped it completely on its head. I was like, everything that I loved about fungus, if applied to us, is the most terrifying thing you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way around it.
I love it.
Yeah. And it was a great setup. I mean, I don't know the exact dates, but the 70s is when Earth Day first started, when humans actually started realizing that, yes, there was a thing called global warming, and we are going toward it.
Right.
And everyone ignored them till today. And so now here we are. And so it's a great sort of couching of those two things in order to create this fungus.
Yeah, well, and that's I love that because that's one thing, and I could be very wrong. It's been a few years since I've played the original, but I feel like there's no explanation of how it happens. It's just they accepted that that's how it happens. Like the beginning of the episode proper, like we got a lot more story with Sarah than in the video game. In the video game, it starts up as you are Sarah. You're walking around the house and all that stuff. Yeah. So we only get a little bit of her, but like from the time she wakes up at like 2 a.m. and like after all the craziness from next door happens and she gets in the truck, that is like shot for shot the fucking video game.
Wow.
Up until the present day. Like it was so insane. Even her death was a fucking video game. Like I was almost crying, like I did in the fucking video game. Like it was just so goddamn
misty-eyed just because I'm a goddamn feeling human being. Like that's devastating. Like the whole time, the relationship, I was like, oh, is she troubled because she's still into watching the money? We find out what that's for, and we're like, oh, she's actually the most caring human ever. And then she like falls asleep in her dad's arms, and it was just me reflecting on me and my daughter's relationship, but it's not that. And I desperately want it to be that. And so I'm just like, oh, why am I not as good as fucking Mandalorian? I'm a loser. And then cut to like 10 minutes later.
Adam.
What's that?
That's a tall order.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Fuck. Dude, cutting to that scene, and you knew it was coming. Like I haven't played the game, and so I was just watching and experiencing. As soon as he was on that radio dial with his boss, the cop or the I don't know, the fucking soldier. I don't even. It was like a National Guard douchebag. It wasn't even a real soldier. But he was like, "Yeah, Are you sure? Yeah." That was like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna kill him."
Mhm.
Oh no, he's gonna kill them for no reason. Oh my gosh, freaking out. And then I think they get away because they do the fucking Princess Bride roll down the hill thing.
Mhm.
That scene where he goes to her and it just pans. It's like a rough-handed cam. It pans to the stomach, then goes right back to her to get her acting performance, which is 100% top notch, amazing
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
whole scene was just going from me going, oh, I want to be them to fuck me. No, I don't. I don't want anything to do with them. Fuck, I'm okay with where I
Yeah.
am. It was
Yeah,
just,
yeah, absolutely. I can understand
oh
that.
God, it was so emotional. And look, I never thought Pedro Pascal was like the greatest actor. I always thought he was good in what he showed up in that I watched. I thought him and Nick Cage were a great pairing.
Yeah, that I will now go on record as saying this is his best performance yet. I
Yeah.
thought it was that,
Ugh.
but no, this is definitely so far just amazing. Like initially, so I love the man. Like he's an excellent actor. I've enjoyed everything that I've seen him in.
Yeah.
But when I first found out he was cast as Joel, there was just that little bit of me that's like, but can he do it? And it was
Right.
immediately believable. Like it just
Oh, I love hearing
so
that.
great.
I love hearing that from someone who actually played the game and like knows it and everything.
Mhm.
Because I'm sitting here just on the sort of receiving end, being blown away. And it's nice to know that it's justified and not just my
Mm.
ignorance of not knowing the fucking story or
Well,
anything.
and that's what I love about this show so far already. Like just first fucking episode. Like we have two completely different perspectives on this franchise. Like I have incessantly played the series.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't, but yet it's still 100% fully like perfect for both of us. Like
Yeah.
I love it.
And you know the writers had to go in knowing that. You know, if they
Well,
just
the
played
writers were
this
fucking writers from the video game.
right. So this was written by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann.
Mhm.
Just for everyone out there, this is the first HBO series is based on a video game, and it's a joint production between Sony Pictures Television, PlayStation Productions, Naughty Dog, and
Mhm.
the Mighty Mint and Word Games. Now, Naughty Dog, I believe that's the actual developer, right,
Mhm.
of the actual game.
Yeah.
So we're going to get 10 seasons, but this is from, as you had mentioned, the original
Wait, we're getting 10
creator.
seasons?
I'm sorry, 10 episodes.
Oh, I was like, oh my god,
We're
I haven't
living
heard
our lives here
that.
for the rest of our living
Dude,
lives.
hey, you know what? I mean, there's a part 2. So,
You're-
I mean, that
That'd be
one
cool. That'd be fun.
no, I don't. It would be, but
Does it get bad?
ooh man, there's some devastating shit.
Oh,
I won't tell you about it,
I
just in
like
case
that
you play
though.
it.
We love consequence. We love sort of circumstantial
Ooh,
reality, and oh, this is the best.
yeah, it's yeah. If anybody's played part 2, they know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, there's consequence.
Okay. I remember there's like this weird. You never know, right? Like if someone like has played a game and they're just like, "This is the most amazing thing. You got to check this out." I've heard from so many of my friends from 2013 on since it was released, saying, "You've got you. This is your type of game, Adam. You got to play this game."
Mhm,
And I just don't own a PS at all, so I
mhm.
couldn't play it at all. I know it's coming out for PC in March, I think, of this year, and I'm definitely
Really?
picking up. Yeah, finally on Steam,
That's amazing.
so I
Yeah, you'll
will pick
definitely
it
have to
up.
get it.
But yeah, I've just been like, you never know what other people think you're going to love versus what you actually love. And this is the perfect type of show for me. So everyone was 100% right. This is just firing on all cylinders. Um, but yeah, as a writer, you can make this choice of so many people have played this. The people who are going to watch this are people who obviously know the IP, so they're going to want to play it, or I'm sorry, watch it. So they're going to expect certain things. So
Mhm,
do I play to that audience or do I play to the person who doesn't know shit about shit? Because I think there's a huge disparity between the two, right? One is paying
mhm,
homage to people who love it, the other is introducing everything the first time without the security that the game has of you being the guy in
mhm.
control. So it's a huge choice that needs to be made. And I think they did it perfect because
Yeah.
clearly they connected with you. They clearly explained it enough for me to immediately. I've watched enough zombie flicks that I fucking know what's going to happen, just by the situation. Like, obviously, she's
Yeah.
got the fucking cure in her. You know, of course, this is a I Am Legend mixed with 28 Days Later in my mind. So it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Except it has a heart, which is like that extra dash of amazingness.
Hmm.
Just I thought the relationship between him and his biological daughter at the very beginning of this show was 100% beautiful and then 100%
Yeah.
devastating. And
Yeah.
then we get the relationship with um, Ellie and Joel, where they first meet. You know, after we realize where he's been, what he's been doing, and everything, and just really quick, seeing Anna Torv from Tess in this.
Oh my
She
God,
was in
man.
Fringe, which is the best
Dude,
sci-fi fucking
I
series ever.
I was at first I'm like, man, how the fuck did they pull Kate Blanchett for this? And then I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's not Kate Blanchett. Oh my God, she has aged so well.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah,
She doesn't age. Kate Blanchett.
yeah. Yeah,
She's a
yeah. Well,
goddamn queen.
yeah, and then I realized it was Anna Torv, and I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my God. Yeah. Fucking I feel like I haven't seen her in shit since Fringe, so it
I haven't
was
either. Yeah.
definitely pleasant
That's
to see
so
her.
funny. I made that. It was my wife that said, "Oh, from Fringe." I was like, "What? Oh my gosh!" And then I made that comment. I was like, "It was so great that she's actually working." And then it made me think, "Well, I'm sure she's working. I'm just not
Mhm.
watching every goddamn thing on
Yeah.
TV."
Yeah.
Makes me
It's
feel like an
like
ass.
I doubt she's in a whole lot of sci-fi or fantasy shit. So,
Yeah,
you know,
we would
it's
have spied her.
yeah, we would have noticed, but
Mhm.
if it's like straight movies, no. No.
Yeah. Um, quick aside: this was directed by Craig Mazin, and of course it was Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann that wrote this particular episode. But I think everything we'll find
Mhm.
out. And it just aired yesterday on Sunday. So yeah, I mean it's all set up. We've already sort of talked about the fungus. It's just the sort of catalyst for the story,
Mhm.
and then clearly the pandemic starts to spread and it starts to affect sort of suburban world where Joel and his daughter live. They get the reaction of the not only the greater world at large through Joel, but then through his daughter with their neighbors. And then we're sort of forced into this 20-year, wait, how many years is it? 20,
It was yeah, it
yeah,
was
20
like
years
20 years,
later.
yeah.
And we have the Fedra that's controlling everything, which is a sort of emergency management organization that
Mhm.
propped up in the pandemic. And then we also have this sort of, what are they called? Fireflies?
Yeah.
This other organization that's sort of this, the rebels versus the empire, trying to, force their way through, to distill in the simplest form, um, eh, into, getting back individual rights and individual freedoms. When you're in
Mhm.
martial law, you're not an individual at all. So it's just this huge dichotomy of what our greatest fears would have happened in the pandemic that we just went through being fully realized, and you're in just survival mode,
Mhm.
full stop.
Well, and that's one thing that I do want to like bring up, like how insane it is that they got this like this story was from, fucking 10, 11, yeah, 11 years ago. And I feel like it's even more relevant nowadays than it was when it came out.
Yeah.
And they didn't change very much of it. Like that's the insane part. Like it's like, I think these guys understand human nature pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other side of this, because the premise, like, we've seen this before. The baseline zombie infection sort of situation, we've seen it through in many different ways. So whether this is
Mhm.
a World War Z or whether this is a 28 days later, like, we're getting the same vibe from it. But this presents it in such a different way, and like, for me, I can't quantify why it's so different, but it feels dramatically different. Do you know what, like, for you, what makes it different than a regular zombie flick?
Dude, I don't know either. Like the thing is, it's uh, for me, it's sort of like the idea of The Walking Dead in a sense,
Mhm.
like where the title
Right.
isn't about zombies, it's about the people living it, and that's the true story. That's the true struggle is people trying to exist in reality as they now know it.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know, this one just it feels more real, like, and especially as like the story of the video games progress, like it just gets more and more like obviously that's how things are going to be,
Yeah.
not like this hyper dystopian shit of The Walking Dead. I mean, I can't really speak for The Walking Dead. I stopped reading them after so long. I think I stopped the show at like season 4 because I
Yeah,
got
that's what I
bored.
did
So
too.
Um, but it's just it feels so real. It feels so lived in, and like it just it's believable. That's the thing for me. It's
Yeah.
believable.
I was listening to a podcast with the original game creator and writer, and he was saying that this show, at its core, is about love and the
Hmm.
reality of what love is. That it's not always a good, shining, happy thing. It can be a
Hmm.
torturous, painful, excruciating thing. And it's like anything in life. You have to experience your lows to really appreciate the highs.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't love as a abstract construct be the exact same thing? I've just never thought of it in those terms before. I've thought of relationships like that, but not actually like the concept of love. And to know that this was written from that lens of saying, I want to present love and all of its consequences, good and bad,
Hmm.
it filters it completely differently for me. And I think that's why I think this is so different, because he did it with this weird concept of love in mind
Hmm.
instead of survival or jump scares or whatever other
Hmm.
reasons people make these types of films or series or games or whatever. This is it's done through a lens of love, and I think that's
Yeah.
pretty stunning. And we
Well, that
see it with the setup too.
and that's the hard part. Like I really want to talk about like, well, yeah, and then there's this, and
And
then
don't
this
spoil.
happens, and then this, but I can't because I'm not that guy.
We'll get there.
Um, but holy fuck, man! Like especially the way that the OG game ends, right on the fucking nose. Like that is literally what this entire story is. It's a man who's so fucking destroyed as a human being because he lost the one thing in his life that he loved, and then he finds something else that he's responsible for, and then essentially she becomes his surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
And man, the shit that he does to keep her ass around, like
Oh, really?
fuck, it's devastating. And
Oh, man.
especially into the second game. The second game, it will destroy you.
I mean, we saw glimpses. I'm extrapolating because I'm not sure, but glimpses of I think what you're speaking to, because we saw that sort of flashback with his daughter and getting that vision of the soldier in front of him, and then
Hmm.
the result of it, and then with Ellie looking at that I don't know, guard or whatever, security force guy, telling him to leave, and then he just sort of snaps when he sees and makes that
Hmm.
same connection. That tells us that's the moment that he makes the love connection that he had with his daughter with this new person, and it
Hmm.
it it could very well be at this point just still this sort of surrogate line because she's his key to his brother, which is
Hmm.
that connection of love. Not necessarily just his care for her at all, but
Yeah, no,
seeing
absolutely.
it through his daughter's lens was beautiful.
Hmm.
And then the result of just the carnage itself, again, I have to call it, it was beautiful.
It
Like,
really
even though,
was.
yes, he fucking murdered a dude with his fist to the face, but what it was for was beautiful. And so
Hmm.
that made it like excusable and acceptable because each of us would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what I love about this type of this genre, the survival genre, is that you're forced to see who you will be, not because you want to, not because it's a natural progression, but because this
Hmm.
is what's demanded of you in the moment, and you either
Yeah.
step up or you die, and that's it. So, I just love it so much. My closest. Okay, here's a question. What's your closest experience to being him in that moment of being forced to kill that guy to protect someone? And I think it's me asking for more napkins at a store, like a restaurant or something. Like, I have to
I
face off with
mean,
someone else.
let's see. There's been plenty of times where I've found out where people lived, and got some friends together and was like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and take this animal, or I'm gonna break your fucking knees."
I was gonna
That's
say, so
that's
this is
fine.
when he was in Spawn Ranch. We're past it now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's probably about the best I could equate. I mean, I've uh, plenty of times like getting in fights because somebody fucking smacked a friend out at the bar or something, or threatening to stab somebody over just stupid shit. Like I'm a very passionate individual, and I care about people.
I'm glad I just know the baking side of you,
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
beating side of you. Let's stay on the baking side.
Fuck yeah. I mean,
It's the best tasting site
That's
anyway.
the best way to live now.
Yeah. Um, okay, so what else do we get? We get this really interesting connection between him and Tess, Joel and
Hmm.
Tess. I didn't know anything about Tess. This was, of course, seeing her and then my wife telling me where she's from and me making that mental connection was exciting. But then seeing their relationship, because it wasn't for me watching it. It wasn't this equal. We are partners.
Hmm.
We're in a relationship. It was like she had something on him, or she was like controlling him or something. And it's like, so does he see her as his only way to get to the end goal of, I don't know, safety, security, his brother, whatever it is, or do they have this relationship that I'm not aware of yet?
So, and again, it's been a few years since I played the original game, so I'm a little rusty on certain parts of it. But like for me, their relationship, it's just out of more or less convenience. Like
Yeah,
she's getting something
mutual.
out of it that he's not, and he's getting something about it that she's not.
Okay.
Because again, he's a destroyed man at this point. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't give a fuck. Like he's gonna do everything he can to get by. He's gonna do what he has to save his brother or find his brother rather. And I mean, really, that's it. Those are his only goals. Anything else is just, you know, of no consequence, really.
Yeah. I mean, we had that beautiful image of him holding his daughter, that most devastating moment, and then it sort of cut to 20 years later, and then people are
Hmm.
unloading dead bodies, and that woman comes across that child that we were introduced to briefly in that scene, and
Hmm.
she's like, "I can't do it," and he was like, "I don't give a fuck. Let's just go. This is a job."
Yeah.
Like going from your most painful, vulnerable moment to being so numb by the reality of what's happening that you don't even give a fuck anymore.
Hmm.
That's broken.
Yeah.
I don't know how you come back from that. I guess it must take an Ellie to come back from that. And
Pretty
by the
much.
way, I know you probably don't know the reference, but Ellie, Bella Ramsey was in Game of Thrones, and the character she played in Game of Thrones was this. She was of course she's a very little girl who her father, who was in charge of this realm, he was this lord of this area, in control of just an army of his own, basically,
Hmm.
has to step up and face insurmountable odds with this sort of ragtag army, and she ends up being the next leader in line because her father dies, and the monologue of power that she puts out there in that show is just amazing. And so this, she had to like live up to a hefty fucking measuring stick, and she knocked it out of the park. She was amazing. I feel like I was watching Logan or something with her portrayal of this character.
Yeah, holy shit. I didn't even think about that. That's yeah. And the thing is, like, she got Ellie, like the character, perfect. And I was a little worried about her too when I saw
Yeah.
the casting. 'Cause, I mean, I hadn't seen her in shit. I didn't really watch Game of Thrones. But yeah, I can definitely see the Logan influence or like
Just
just
the
like
vibe, yeah.
that. Hmm.
It was great. Um, but yeah, when she's like doesn't understand why she's there, why she's being
Hmm.
even contained at all, which I don't know why they wouldn't tell her. It's not going to change the outcome if they just told her, but whatever. Is it too on the nose? Did they is it revealed this quickly through sort of inference that that's
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
game?
it's pretty early on. Like it's more. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Up until the point where Joel actually takes her, it is pretty like sort of like there's something keeping her, and then it's Marlene is like, look, she can save us. She has to get to this outpost, and then it's kind of figured out from there that oh holy shit, that's a bite on your arm, and she's like, I'm fine. And then pretty much the rest of the story is Joel trying to convince her to try to act like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll get it later on in the season, I'm sure. But the way that people get infected and stuff outside of getting attacked by clickers or whatever, so
It's
there's pretty
truffles, right? It's
yeah
fucking
yeah it's
truffles.
truffles. They're
Those
out there. They're
goddamn
like, oh,
pretentious
that
chefs.
pig is sniffing something. I should go see what that is.
Yeah, let me eat what the pig is sniffing.
Yeah.
Charge insane amounts of money for it.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it's nice to know that. I don't want to keep sort of harping on it, and so I'll try to approach it in a slightly different way. Is that the how do you make this feel like a new tale? Because this is the child and mentor, or the child and the parent survival story is so old. It was done
Mhm.
back in Japanese westerns. It was done in American westerns. We see it nowadays with Mandalorian. I mean, it's just Children of Men did a brilliant job of the exact same baseline story. If anyone out there hasn't seen that sci-fi film with Gerard Butler, it's fucking amazing. You have to see Children of Men. But it's basically the same thing. But
Mhm.
the vibe is so different. It's this has like the way they shot this, just the cinematography of it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole early scene when they're sort of trying to get out of town initially, and they're going through the town, and with all the people
Mhm.
running around, being attacked and everything. It was so claustrophobic. My wife and I were both sort of like clutching pillows, like, how is this? I'm getting stressed out. I can't take this shit.
Mhm.
And we've seen a bazillion films like that. So I don't
Yeah.
know why this one in particular really hit these chords. But at every turn, even when the love dynamic's not in it, it has got me 100%. It's
Yeah.
crazy. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know what else we can talk about. What happened on this thing?
I mean, really, that's about it. We find Joel as a broken man 20 years later, trying to get what he can to get together a vehicle so he can get the fuck out of there. Because of course, Fedra, they're a bunch of twat waffles, and the Fireflies aren't too much better. They're a failing
Yeah.
rebellion. But
Twat waffles.
I mean, they are. It's
I've seen
Hey,
some
do you want
labia
to
that
know
are
how to
pretty
say
close to
that
a
in
twat
sign
waffle.
language, Adam?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is twat. Oh, you can't see
Shut
because my
the
hand.
fuck
God damn it.
up.
So this is
I feel like I
twat.
could have guessed that.
This or fuck, is it this or it's this? I
All
think it's
right.
this. That's waffle. So that's how you say twat waffle, kids. Um,
You're
but
welcome, America.
yeah. um, shit. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. So the failing organization. It's like it was a whole lot of setup of kind of the players that we're gonna see. Which is ultimately all we need in the first episode, and
Yeah.
that's like they did it right though. Like it seriously, for the most part, felt like the video game. I was actually
Mhm.
talking to one of my coworkers earlier, who he's the one that got me into The Last of Us, and he's like beyond obsessed compared to me. And even he was gushing over how everything's perfect. I mean, even down to shit
Wow.
like Marlene. They got the fucking voice actor to
Yeah.
play the character actor. And it's so amazing that they give this much of a fuck. And then, of course, the composer, like having the
This
musical element,
score.
because that's, of course, I mean, everybody knows a score is like that's a character. That's
Mhm.
like the one constant companion you have in any story, and it can make or break a story.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most beautiful parts of this whole franchise has been the music, and to bring back the person that did it. Like I almost fucking stood up and clapped like an asshole in front of my TV because of seeing his name. I'm like, yes, yes, they did it. They fucking did it, you crazy bastards.
You
Uh,
actually did. That's funny.
yeah, that's just so. But I mean, it's great because it sets it up. And the thing that I like, of course, I do love 23-minute shows.
Yeah.
It's great to have just a little snippet and be able to move on with your day because I really don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and watch shit.
Mm.
It's really hard. Like I have to plan my life around seeing things. But given that, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume they're gonna keep this format, but 120 minutes for a single fucking episode, that is a feature length film, and I cannot be more excited they're giving us that much.
It was stunning. I was listening to the podcast from the producers that's after every episode that HBO releases, and they were saying that they wanted to end it at the death of his daughter, and the studio execs from HBO said, "No, you have to push it beyond that. We have to see his connection with Ellie. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the hook. That's what we got to see." And the writer and the producer from Chernobyl, which did an amazing job there, is they're like, "Are you sure? Like that makes it a kind of long." And they're like, "No, we have to see it." And then they were right in the end. It ended up being perfect.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing because like even the games, they are so story heavy. They're so long. But it's not like stupid busy work video
Hmm.
games. It's actual storytelling. It's you're playing a movie, you're playing a novel essentially. So I I think they did that right. Like the time frame was perfect.
Yeah. I'm trying to juxtapose it with, the sort of the Disney approach, or the Lucasfilm approach,
Right.
and it's night and day. Like, no,
Yeah.
make it longer, see the vision through. We need to pay it off, and the other one's like, let's cut as many cords as possible. We're just
Yeah.
gonna make
Yeah.
money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's just do an entire episode full of drone shots. Oh wait, we should probably throw in like 5 minutes of story. Yeah.
They're
But
all
we won't talk
story.
about that anymore. Yeah.
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 Um,
Night and day difference.
it's
Definitely.
crazy. Well, it's weird because we went from Andor, which was just stunning and amazing, to that, which was horrible, and then we come back to something that's just genuinely stunning and amazing.
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'll take a loss if I can get 2 wins. Like, shit,
Yeah.
this is great.
Well, and it's crazy. Like I feel like we're gonna get really, really spoiled by HBO this year because not only do we have this, we
Always.
also have the fucking It prequel, Welcome to Derry.
Wait, what?
You didn't know about that?
No.
Yeah, they've been developing that shit for like the last 2 years or something, and it's supposed to
What?
come out this year. Yeah,
What?
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, exactly. Again, we're getting spoiled by HBO this year.
Fuck, I thought they spoiled me with White Lotus. That was amazing. And like everything that they do on this channel, on that channel is fucking great. Sponsor us, HBO.
Yes, please. I will fucking just verbally fillet HBO though every episode for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I 6 Feet Under, fucking
Yeah,
Sopranos. I
absolutely.
mean, it's great. Everything is great. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, HBO's awesome. They're not going to pay us, so fuck them. This show was
I
amazing.
mean, if they want to pay us great, they could just bring back Dead Like Me.
It's true.
Just saying.
All right. You heard him. Do it. Do it, HBO execs. What was your favorite part of this? I mean, because I think this is gonna be interesting because you played the games, you know the exact story, you kind of knew what was going on the whole time. So, even knowing all that, what stood out to you?
The biggest thing that stood out for me is what we didn't see, which is what I love.
What?
Like we did get zombies.
Yeah.
We did. We of course got the next door neighbor who is like just a fucking vegetable that came to life.
Yeah. It was creepy.
And then we
Behind
got
shot.
the little bit of scenes running through the town, but we didn't really get like a full
Right.
on clicker, like someone that hasn't just recently turned, but somebody where the fungus is actually taking over and like splitting their face and stuff. Yeah, dude, they get fucking gruesome as shit. So that's what I love is I know what to expect, I think. And like especially design wise, I know what to expect. And the fact that we didn't get that initially made me so fucking happy because it gave me something to look forward to.
Right.
And it's like they teased me a little. They just barely tickled the balls, just enough to get kind of jumping around, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's a great sort of personification of what we were saying earlier about them catering to both the game fans and the film,
Yeah.
first timers.
Now, I will say if I got to pick out a scene that I loved, and I didn't love it at all, like it killed me, but Sarah dying.
Yeah.
Because that
Yep.
seriously, like, that was perfect. That was the first time playing that video game at 2 a.m, drunk as shit, and just losing my fucking shit, like crying because the desperation and the pain that was in the video game was in that. Both actors just they sold it. Like
Yeah.
I was there.
It was, yeah. I think that's my number one, like my favorite too, is the connection, which made sense. They set it up perfectly. They gave us time to breathe with the character, to really appreciate who she was, and then bam. And that is just it connected me with our hero Joel immediately, and it made me invested in what is coming next. Because if they built up his daughter's character so amazingly well in that short amount of time, what else are we going to get with these characters? With Ellie and with Joel and their dynamic, and then I know Tess isn't in the whole time because she's not in any of the damn commercials, but she's going to have to go. But I just to know that when we do finally get to that point, if they give as much sort of heart as they did to the daughter, fuck, it's going to be great. Ugh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
shit.
I just I can't wait.
So
I can't wait
complaints. What would be the least favorite for you?
that I have to wait another week. Like,
7 days.
I really cannot complain about a single thing. Um, just fucking amazing. And then to give us that little bit of BTS after the credits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love when places or like when shows do that shit, and it made me so happy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything bad. I was just completely blown away the entire time about everything, from all the technical side to the artistic side. I mean, this was just a brilliant knock out of the park. It seemed shorter than it actually was in sort of length.
Right?
So if I
That's
have
the
to like
crazy thing.
scratch something out, it's got to be that I want more of it immediately now. You know, it's too short, even though it's a movie.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the rest of them are that time frame, because if not, I'm gonna start to feel gypped if they give me like a 20-minute one next week. You know, it's like, fuck, come on, man. You can't just give me a huge fix and then only give me a little dash of fucking Coke. I need a line.
Right.
Not a spritz.
Well, and the thing is too, like, there's so much room for story with this, especially if they're going to continue it.
Yeah.
So like, let's say, and I know this is hard because you don't know how the game ends and all that stuff, but let's say that they don't end this season like they end the game.
Right.
They have to essentially travel from where they are to Washington State.
Oh, wow.
Or was it Wyoming? No, they end up in Washington. Yeah, I think. No, it is Wyoming. Yeah, they end up in Wyoming.
Okay.
That's a big fucking chunk of land to travel, and that's a lot of shit in between. So they can just make shit up that hasn't even existed in the video games. And as long as they keep the heart of it, I think it's going to be just absolute perfection.
Hell yeah. Well, I saw Nick Offerman in the trailers, so I know I can't wait to see his character.
Yeah, definitely.
I like everything he's done. I think he's great. As quirky as he gets. All right. That's kind of all I had. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with this?
No, we definitely covered it.
Yeah, well, I'm super stoked that we can be watching this, and I'm really glad I can be talking about it with you, someone who's played it, and you know, we're friends too, so that's always great too.
Yeah.
So all of you out there, thank you guys so much for tuning in to these. You know, we'd love to hear what you have to say about these episodes as well. So if you ever have the opportunity to join us live, we're probably going to be doing this around the same time every week as long as this series is going. So check us out, and we hope to hear from you. If you can't check it out live, that's okay too. Just leave a comment below. What did you think about this episode? Did it live up to the game if you'd played the game? And if not, for you, is it too close to other similar genre films? Let us know in the comments. We always appreciate what you have to say. Of course, if you want to support this channel, click that stupid subscribe button, like button, bell, and comment, and leave us all the goodies. We appreciate them. I can't remember the out to this particular show we're doing. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, like it or not, evil spelled backwards is live. So get your asses out there. Oh yeah, we didn't rate it.
Oh, yeah.
What did you
gotta rate it?
What did you rate it?
I will give it a solid 10 out of 5.
Oh, come on. Oh, shit, you did.
I fucking
10
did,
out of
God damn
5.
it.
All right, well, I capped out, so that's all I got. Your eyes are bigger than mine. All right. Get out there and do some evil, people. You know, live.